Alex Crook's transfer centre, aka Fabrizio Romano's transfer centre. I can't wait for this cricket hour. You ain't
It's definitely not Fabrizio Romano's transfer centre.
All the times you poke at me and Ambrose, all the time we just take it. You've got to just take up the chin.
I don't know if I ever poke at you, do I, Ambrose?
The cheek. So, Crookie, what you got for us then?
Well, let's start with the story that I know Darren Ambrose has been paying particular attention to. We're going to talk about Tottenham. Jed Spence, we broke the news on Friday that was very close to being a done deal, £20 million, Nottingham Forest to Tottenham. Good signing, I think, in terms of that right wing-back, dynamic, attacking wing-back that Antonio Conte is looking for. The other name that emerged yesterday over in South America was that of Richarlison. Some reports in Brazil suggesting that Tottenham are in advanced talks. I don't think it's quite at that stage yet, but certainly Richarlison is somebody that is on their list of potential targets this summer. I'm just not sure where he fits, Ambrose, in that forward line. They've already added Perisic. You've got Kane and Son, who are pretty much undroppable. You've got Kulusevski, who ended the season in fantastic form as well.
Yeah. Jed Spence from Middlesbrough, right?
From Middlesbrough, yeah. He was on loan at Forest last season.
Yeah, but Forest obviously want to come in, and I think that would be an outstanding signing, Jed Spence. We spoke about this at the EFL Awards when he got in Team of the Year in the Championship.
He didn't want to speak to us, did he?
No, but I think it would be a brilliant signing. I think Royale and Doherty, I don't think they've performed as well as Conte would want, so I think that would be great.
I think Doherty started to, but then he got an injury.
Yeah, I mean they're improving, and even Royale is improving under Conte. But I think this would add another addition. I think it'll be a great signing for me. The Richarlison one's interesting. I think he'll add competition to the forward line. I think he'd be competing more so with Kulusevski than Son and Kane. I think injury permitting, those two are first names on the team sheet. So I think he'll add crucial competition in my opinion for that third spot. Kulusevski's been brilliant, but we know what it's like in the Premier League. It's fast. There's games come thick and fast as well, particularly with the World Cup approaching. He's a good player, Richarlison. Will he clash with Antonio Conte? Who knows? But with the signings he's made, Bentancur and Kulusevski in January, I think you've got to trust what Conte's doing.
Do you know what I do like about it? And again, even I'm an Arsenal fan, but what Spurs are doing right now is that it almost looks like they're not sitting on the hills anymore. They've mentioned that they're out there, they're putting the names out there who they want to get, they're getting some of these targets. And you have to say Antonio Conte's completely changed the way that they're doing the transfer work, so fair play. But if they get Richarlison, I think it's a good sign for the squad. And I think he goes in starting straight away. Whereas I think Jed Spence, I think he would go in and start game one, and he's got all the attributes. He's powerful, he's quick, he's strong, can score goals from that position, because we know now how important that is, the fullbacks getting goals. So I think that'd be a fantastic signing.
Perisic will be left and Jed Spence on the right in terms of full, like wing backs? Do you think that's the way Spurs would want to go?
I don't think Perisic will start as a wing back. I think
You're not?
No, I don't. I think he'll bide his time before he's in there. But I think Jed Spence will go straight in right back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a blow for Forest, though, isn't it? Because obviously the money goes to Middlesbrough, so they've got no money coming their way, and they've got to fill that really big void that will be left by Jed Spence.
But again, they would have had to fill it anyway, because there's no guarantees that they could afford to bring him back the next season anyway. But Middlesbrough's a strange one, because there's no real clamour to keep him.
No,
which I don't understand. I don't think.
Well, he won't want to stay, will he?
I get that, but even he's been fine. You speak to a lot of Middlesbrough fans, and they're kind of like, yeah, he goes with our blessing.
They might replace him with Jack Stacey, fullback at Bournemouth. Keep an eye on that one in the coming weeks. Manchester United obviously missed out on Darwin Núñez. I think they were always going to miss out on Darwin Núñez once it became clear that Liverpool were also a potential suitor. Frenkie de Jong, I'm told, is slowly moving towards a positive conclusion. There's a confidence now, almost an expectation at Old Trafford that he will link up again with Erik ten Hag, somebody that did well under him at Ajax, got that move to Barcelona. And another name in the frame, again, someone who did well at Ajax under Ten Hag, is Antony. He's a right-sided winger. Will add competition for places. I guess Manchester United fans will be a bit concerned that they're not really being linked with too many out-and-out number nines, which means they're still quite reliant. You're a United fan. Are you worried? Well, it means they're still reliant on Cristiano Ronaldo, which in itself I don't think is a problem. It will be interesting to see what Ten Hag does with Marcus Rashford. If he is looking at another wide man, I think the interest in Antony, as I mentioned on the Sunday session, is genuine. Obviously, Jadon Sancho, you would expect to kick on the left-hand side. Does that mean now that Marcus Rashford is going to go back to being a number 9. They've got Anthony Martial coming back from an unsuccessful loan spell at Sevilla as well. As much as he wants new signings, I think part of the remit for Ten Hag is also to get the better out of players who were underperforming last season.
Yeah, is it concerning for you that at the moment, at present, it seems he's only looking at players that he's previously worked with? Now,
I think a lot of managers do that, don't they?
They like to do that, yeah, but you also want to see a manager go his own way and see other players, what can they bring to the Premier League. And for Manchester United, go and try and sign superstars, and at the moment there's no superstars really been linked.
Well, Nunez is supposed to be a superstar, and
I think De Jong was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Frankie De Jong, but
I think that's a lot of money for De Jong. I'm talking about. What was it? Was it linked at 75 odd million?
I think United want to pay around 60.
Yeah,
and they're haggling with Barcelona, so maybe they might meet in the middle. It might end up being 65 with add-ons.
Why do they want to get rid of him? Because I always thought he was a decent player, Frankie de Jong.
Well, I think there's a financial necessity because Barcelona want to bring in players themselves. Bernardo Silva is on their list, Rafinha.
So how are they? I thought they were in turmoil, that football club. They get linked to everyone left, right and centre. I know people might say they're frees, but they still have to pay a lot of wages.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think they have to sell before they can buy, and therefore it's maybe a little bit reluctance on their part to get rid of Frankie de Jong. I don't think he's been quite the same player at Barcelona as he was in the Dutch league, but he would have learnt from his experiences there, and hopefully we'll be able to, from a Manchester United perspective, add something at Old Trafford. They need numbers as much as anything else. And you talk about superstars, they've gone down the superstar route, haven't they? Alexis Sanchez and his piano, Cavani, who incidentally started 2 games in 8 days for Uruguay, having barely been available for Manchester United for the second half of the season. Paul Pogba didn't work out. I'm not sure they do need superstars.
22-year-old winger. It could be the way forward for Manchester United. We're talking about a rebuild.
Exactly.
These are the signings Ten Hag needs.
Talking of a rebuild, Newcastle's rebuild really started in January. Some brilliant business done by Eddie Howe, keeping them in the Premier League fairly comfortably in the end. They've got Dan Ashworth in as sporting director.
That's very, very good, that.
They've already signed Matt Targett, making his loan move permanent, £12 million from Aston Villa. Sven Botman was a player they were desperate to sign in January. Didn't happen, stayed at Lille. I think, again, there's a confidence now at St James's Park that it will happen. Looked like earlier in the summer he was off to AC Milan, but they're waiting for a takeover to go through. That's put that deal on hold. Newcastle have nipped in. Dan Ashworth was watching the Dutch under-21s yesterday, and there's an expectation that he will be through the door probably in the coming days at St James's Park. Is that an area at the heart of defence where Newcastle, Darren, your old club, need improvement?
Yeah, huge. First and foremost, I agree with what Benty said. Dan Ashworth is the signing of the summer for me in terms of Newcastle, because he will change the game up there. They need a centre back, and it's nothing against Lascelles or Shaw. Dan Burns come in, done very well as well, but they need someone else. They need a real leader, key figure, I think, in Lille's title-winning side a couple of years back. So I think it's a fantastic signing, and I think a signing that will get other people looking at that thinking, actually, Newcastle are going again, and I want to be part of that.
Do you think they might go for a back three as well? Because Trippier can play as a wing-back. Matt Targett has the engine to get up and down on the left-hand side.
Is it something Eddie Howe likes to do?
He did it a few times at Bournemouth, and Botman is a left-sided central defender, so it might lend itself to that.
And it certainly gives him that option. And I think you know what it's like in the Prem when you're facing different sides, home and away. You need that option of changing formation. So it would be a great signing. Realistically,
for Newcastle next season, Daz, with the signings that we expect them to make, good players, where should they be aiming for?
I've been asked this a lot, and I think Newcastle, particularly the supporters, will be just delighted that they can at least compete now, and compete in the transfer market, compete in the league. They showed the form towards the end of last season as well. I think the owners will be wanting more than the supporters. I think you've got to be aiming for top 7. I think you've got to be, if the signs continue of this ilk, I think a top 7 finish is very possible.
While we're talking about Newcastle, obviously the Derby takeover has collapsed over the course of the weekend. The EFL releasing a statement today, which I think basically is setting Derby a challenge of finding a way out of this financial mess before the fixtures are released, or risk expulsion from the Football League. That would be very bad news indeed, Darren Bent, for your former club. But Mike Ashley, his interest has never really gone away. I know he's still lurking in the background. He was almost waiting for this takeover to collapse. Obviously, not a popular figure at St James's Park. What would you say to Derby fans if it turned out that Mike Ashley was to prove to be the man to save them from potential financial ruin?
Well, I guess at the end of the day, it's about the football club. And if he's the best man to come in and ensure that football club can survive, then you have to look at it. And we know what happened at Newcastle and the disdain from the Newcastle fans towards him. But I think for Mike Ashley, if he can come in, because first, as I said, the football club's bigger than anything.
Yeah.
So I think if he can come in and he can save them and stabilise it a little bit, and then they can start to rebuild and start to move forward again, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, it's not good at the moment at Derby, of course. So we heard Curtis Davies the other day on Kickoff saying that he looks on Twitter every morning checking Derby, and he's spoken to a few people and no one knows what's going on. But it's not just the players, it's the backroom staff. Something needs to be done. And if Mike Ashley is going to put forward the funds and save the football club, he might want it to go differently to it did Newcastle. He'd have learnt his lessons. That has to be an option.